May 10th, we are first going to go into the Art of War, and then go into an alternate translation, and then we're going to go to the Daily Stoic, switching it back up. Verse 25, we are in the chapter on terrain. Regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you into the deepest valleys. Look upon them as your own beloved sons, and they will stand by you even unto death. 26. If, however, you are indulgent, but unable to make your authority felt, kind-hearted, but unable to enforce your commands, and incapable, moreover, of quelling disorder, then your soldiers must be likened to spoilt children. They are useless for any practical purposes. Let's go over to an alternate translation here and just see, from reading that, what we glean. When the generals are weak, says Master Sun, and lack authority, instructions are not clear. Officers and soldiers lack consistency, and they form battle lines every which way. This is riot. When the generals cannot assess opponents, clash with much greater numbers or more powerful forces, and do not sort out the levels of skill among their own troops, these are the ones who get beaten. GLN, if you employ soldiers without sorting out the skilled and unskilled, the brave and the timid, you are bringing defeat on yourself. We skipped this in the last one, so let's go ahead and read through a couple of these real quick and see what we can bring out. These 6 are ways to defeat. Understanding this is the ultimate responsibility of the generals. They must be examined. Chin Hao says, first is not assessing numbers. Second is a lack of clear system of punishments and rewards. Third is a failure in training. Fourth is irrational overexcitement. Fifth is ineffectiveness of law and order. And sixth is failure to choose the strong and resolute. Master Sun says, the contour of the land is an aid to an army. Sizing up opponents to determine victory, assessing dangers and distances is a proper course of action for military leaders. Those who do battle knowing these will win. Those who do battle without knowing these will lose. Zheng Yu says, once you know the opponent's conditions and also know the advantages of the terrain, you can win in battle. If you know neither, you will lose in battle. Master Sun says, therefore, when the laws of war indicate certain victory, it is surely appropriate to do battle, even if the government says there is to be no battle. If the laws of war do not indicate victory, it is appropriate not to do battle, even if the government orders war. Thus one advances without seeking glory, retreats without avoiding blame, only protecting people to the benefit of the government as well, thus rendering valuable service to the nation. Zheng Yu says, advancing and retreating contrary to government orders is not done for personal interest, but only to safeguard the lives of the people in accord with the true benefit of the government. Such loyal employees are valuable to a nation. So this means that, like, it's the military's duty to protect the people, not the politicians. Let's hope they remember that as we move forward into World War III. Master Sun says, look upon your soldiers as you do infants, and they willingly go into deep valleys with you. Look upon your soldiers as your beloved children, and they will willingly die with you. Li Kuan says, if you treat them well, you will get their utmost power. And then wrapping up, Master Sun says, if you are so nice to them that you cannot employ them, so kind to them that you cannot command them, so casual with them that you cannot establish order, they are like spoiled children, useless. Cao Cao says to this, rewards should not be used alone. Punishments should not be relied on in isolation. Otherwise, like spoiled children, people will become accustomed to either enjoying or resenting everything. This is harmful and renders them useless. All right. So now let's go to a reading out of the Daily Stoic as we keep those in mind. For May 10th, Don't Be Inspired, Be Inspirational by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Let us also produce some bold act of our own and join the ranks of the most emulated. Seneca, Moral Letters 98.13b. It was common in Greek and Roman times, just as it is now, for politicians to pander to their audience. They would lavish effusive praise on the crowd, on their country, or inspiring military victories of the past. How many times have you heard a political candidate say, this is the greatest country in the history of the world? As orator Demosthenes pointed out, we'll gladly sit for hours to hear a speaker who stands in front of some famous or sacred landmark, praising our ancestors, describing their exploits, and enumerating their trophies. But what does this flattery accomplish? nothing. Worse, the administration of shiny accolades distracts us from what their true purpose. Also, as Demosthenes explains, it betrays the very ancestors who inspire us. He concluded his speech to the Athenian people with words that Seneca would later echo and still resounds centuries later. Reflect, then, that your ancestors set up those trophies, not that you may gaze at them in wonder, but that you may also imitate the virtues of the men who set them up. The same goes for the quotes in this book, and for other inspiring words you might hear. Don't just admire them. Use them. Follow their example. And so, man, that is impressive, right? Following the example. Just as we read a verse out of The Art of War about not listening to the government to go to battle if death and defeat is sure to happen according to the tenets of war, because you're right, because we're good generals, we're quality generals of our life, of our house, of ourselves, of our team, of whatever it is that we're doing in life. And so having the ability to look back at the past of the titans that have come before us and not admire or put them on a pedestal, but actually emulate, imitate, so that we too may help build the future better.